Hello, visionaries, and welcome to Raquel and Davidian's channel, Unleash Your Genius. In this video, I'm going to talk about your unique fear and the fear gates around the spleen. So stay tuned, this is important intel. So welcome to your training on the fear gates. This is Raquel and Davidian's Unleash Your Genius, and we are going to dive right into the material. So the sacred centering, I want you to, for a minute, understand the gift of understanding your fears. So when you really understand why you're behaving the way you're behaving, you can make different choices. Your unique fears might be controlling you, might be controlling your business, your actions, keeping you stuck in relationships or careers or jobs that no longer serve you. And yet it's so subtle that you don't notice it as a fear. And this is what we're going to talk about today. And so go ahead and pull out your journals. This is going to be some deep work, and I hope you have some insights. If you do, please make sure you comment below. I love to hear from you, and like this video and share it. This is really important intel, and if the world were relieved of their fears, imagine how much greatness can be unleashed on the planet. So the primal fears are located here in your spleen. This is a picture of your spleen. Let me show it to you on a larger chart. So here is a picture of the human design chart, and the spleen is that brown triangle over on the left. The ajna, this part here, has to do with anxiety. The emotional center has to do with nervousness, and the spleen has to do with fear. So you'll notice on this particular chart, there's a hanging gate here, this red line we call a hanging gate off of gate 48. Here we'll see it off of gate 57, gate 44, gate 50, and gate 18. Now, if you don't know how to read your chart, go ahead and listen to my chart basics. I'll put a link to that in this below this video, and that'll teach you how to read your own personal chart. And if you want more information on how to utilize this in your life and in your business, go ahead and sign up for our free training. It's a 3-part video series that'll help you understand how to utilize this material in your life for success in business and in your career. There'll be a link to that below as well. All right, so pull out your chart, and I want you to go ahead and circle which gate you have. So you'll notice which gate has a line off of it, and that will be your unique fear. And now we're going to dive in and talk about this, and I'm going to tell you why it's so important for you to master this and really understand it in your life, and especially in your business if you're an entrepreneur. So gate 18 is the fear of authority, and don't worry, I'm going to go through each one of these in depth. Gate 28 is the fear of death. Gate 32 is the fear of failure. Gate 50, the fear of responsibility. Gate 44, the fear of the past. Gate 57, the fear of tomorrow. And gate 48, the fear of inadequacy. So the interesting thing about facing your fear is the only thing that works is taking action. So this is intense because most of our strategies, if you're a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, or a reflector, you're here to wait. So you're here to wait to respond or wait for the invitation. So how do you deal with this sense that the only way through fear is taking action when your strategy is to wait to respond? So the most important thing for you to understand about this is you need to tease apart what waiting for the response or waiting for the invitation, how that's different from the fear talking to you in your head, telling you that you need to wait. But really, it's a fear that's holding you in place and keeping you stuck. So this is about consciousness. It's about becoming aware of how you get tricked by your own shadows and your own fears. And there's a subtle difference here. And oftentimes people can use the excuse, oh, I'm waiting for the invitation, when really they're just sitting in the fear of the past. They've tried this before and it failed, and they don't want to try it again because they're afraid. So let's look at this in a little bit more depth. So if you have gate 18, please write in the comments below. This means that you have a fear of authority. So you remember where you see this in your chart. I'm going to show you that really quickly one more time. Okay. So here at the bottom, this one's gate 18, gate 28, gate 32, gate 50, gate 44, gate 57, gate 48. We're going to start here at the bottom with gate 18, and then I'm going to go through each gate, and I want you to really acknowledge how you've experienced this in your life, and make sure you have your chart so you can see which particular gate you have and which gate is holding you a prisoner to your own fear. So gate 18 is the fear of authority. Establish what works and what doesn't. Yet this comes through the system as dissatisfaction. So in a way, it is a correction of authority, feeling the need to challenge authority to produce an environment that feels more correct for us, often beginning in a rebellion against the parental figures or really against something that needs to be correct. We see this oftentimes in accountants or in editors, where they see the details and they see what needs to be changed. So in seeking the correction and details, there's also a perfectionism with this gate. So it can also translate into the fear of making mistakes. So if you have perfectionism that's keeping you spinning, you won't move forward unless something is perfect. You can see this fear gate in action in yourself. So not taking action until everything is perfect is a form of fear with gate 18. Gate 28, the fear of death. This is part of the channel of struggle. The keynote here is the risk taker. So it doesn't so much show up as the fear of death, but the fear that you're living a life without purpose. This gate is wondering if the struggle of life is really worth it. If this gate 28 can take the risk and really find out what they love to do, this is when they can find their purpose in life. If you stay in apathy of whether life is worth living, you never know. So take that courageous step into doing what you love. You might let this fear destroy your true life purpose or your calling. So here we see life is more than just survival and paying the bills and taking care of necessities. Life is about living a life that you love, a life that brings fulfillment, and a life that brings you purpose. Gate 32, the fear of failure. This is a gate of ambition and drive forward towards advancement, climbing that corporate ladder, or even moving up in relationships to the one that's going to bring you the greatest success, you know, the concubine who needs to marry the king. So with it comes the fear of failing in providing for self and for the family, of not climbing up. The fear of not having enough resources, always keeping their eyes open for the next door to open, for the ambition to find its next step. They need to find that next step, and they have the fear that it won't be there. The only way to really overcome this particular fear is when entering into relationships of advancement, it has to be correct for you. Incorrect response or incorrect invitation. So you really have to follow your strategy and follow your authority. We have a lot of other videos on this, how to figure this out. If you really need to go back to the basics to understand your design, you can see why it's so important to do so. So allowing this fear to push or drive you will be futile. for the growth and success of the person who has this gate. Gate 50, the fear of responsibility. This is the gate of values, the code of how to nurture. Layers and layers of potential burden are found with this gate. The code of nurture has to do with the rules, the regulations, and whether there are enough resources to care for the family. The fear of responsibility, when we're looking at the modern day, we see the fear of, parenting or parenthood, or the fear of marriage, or the fear of bonding with the family, fear of taking on the commitment for the family's material or emotional needs. And this runs rather deep when we see the code for nurturing and taking responsibility, or fear of, for the community, the nation, the nature of business, the environment, or the planet itself. And really also this has to do with the responsibility for nurturing the self as well. And oftentimes that'll come with, not taking and not doing self-care and harming the self. So really here it is about responsibility for the core value to also nourish yourself and put yourself first. Gate 44 is the fear of the past. This is a big one that definitely controlled my life for a long time. I have this gate, and I saw this when I was in corporate, and I knew it was time for me to leave that career, but I have done several businesses in the past that caused me a lot of pain. And so I thought, I don't want to leave because I'm going to have the exact same failures that I had in the past. Okay, so this can keep you really spinning. So the ancient fears of the family and even extinction is where this primal fear comes from. This fear of the past runs over all past failures, troubles, or setbacks. And if anything looks remotely familiar, it'll stop itself in its tracks from moving forward, even if your strategy and authority are leading you to a certain direction. It's all systems go. You're getting the invitation. You're getting the outside confirmations that it's time for you to go on. But the pain, depending on how deep the trauma was of the past, will keep you from experiencing that again. The fear of the past is not real. I repeat, the fear of the past is not real, and the only way to move on from this is to take action forward. And here's from somebody who was spinning for a long time, got this information, realized that it was my fear of the past, ruminating over my past failures, and I was finally able to make that leap and create a career that's really fulfilling for me. I also have this one, Gate 57, the fear of tomorrow. So this is very complex because you got the fear of the past and the fear of tomorrow. So this is about, the fear of what could be or what might be. So, if I take that action, oh my God, this could happen. I could lose this. I could become bankrupt. I could lose my home. This shows up as the mind running through the complicated outcomes and scenarios that each step could potentially cause. This causes a stagnation and inability to move forward. So the fear of tomorrow also blocks the greatest gifts of this gate, which is clarity, the knowing. Okay, so the subtlety that it cannot be heard or felt when the shadow of this gate is taking over. So the knowing is blocked. Your deep psychic knowing is blocked when you're in the shadow or the fear of this, okay? The fear of this gate. And the subtlety of knowing is in the now. Only problems that should be ruminated over are the concrete problems of the now. And in the now, solutions are found. So overcomplicating tomorrow's issues blocks the knowing in this moment, in the now. The doubt of the knowing also blocks the abilities of this gate. So, blocking the fact that you're psychic or that or you don't need to know how you just know. If you doubt yourself, you start blocking your abilities. Does that make sense? It's pretty powerful. Gate 48 is the fear of inadequacy. A lot of people have this gate, and it's pretty intense. This is the fear that no one will know enough, that you don't have enough information to move on. You need that next certification. You need to get that next program. You need to do this. You need to get your next degree in order to do what you really want to do. This is the fear that you need more intel, more certifications, more studying before you can move forward. This fear of inadequacy can be felt as a deep, deep dissatisfaction, always feeling that you don't have what it takes to share your knowledge or the skills to express their depth. People with this gate, they always want more skills when really it's about the gate 48. Recognizing and sharing the well of their depth is the gift that they actually have to share. Most people with this gate are deeper and have more knowledge than most people ever have because they've already explored and already gotten so much depth, and they've gotten so many certifications and read so many books already. They often have gathered more than most people on whatever subject it is that they're inspired by. Ultimately, fear is a valuable tool. It drives us to depth, to perfect our lives, to ensure a more enjoyable survival. And once these fear gates are brought into the light, meaning we become conscious of them, we can use them to drive our lives forward rather than keeping us stuck or in a spin cycle. Knowing your fears can catapult you into brand new realms of manifestation. You know what fear is and what it's not because you know yourself on a whole new level. If you have questions or comments, please go ahead and respond below. You know what to do. Subscribe to this channel. We have a lot of great new intel coming forward for you. You know you are born for greatness, and we see your genius.